It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon, or the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this Tuesday, December 10. PHIVOLCS Director Toto Bacolcol says another hazardous eruption is possible with Canlaon volcano. Canlaon remains under alert level 3, which means there is magmatic unrest. The Sandigan Bayan has dismissed 2 ill-gotten wealth cases involving the former or the late President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and his wife Imelda Dandinco Wangco Jr. and Presidential Chief Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enrile. The Anti-Graft Court approves the government's motion to withdraw the cases, citing pending compromise negotiations and previous Supreme Court rulings. And President Bongbong Marcos says he has no plans to send Navy ships to the West Philippine Sea. He stresses that the country is not at war. His statements came after recent Chinese aggressions in disputed waters that include water cannon and laser pointing attacks on Philippine ships.
We are going to continue to perform our mission. We will never be part of an escalation in the situation in the West Philippine Sea. If we look at the evolution of the situation in the West Philippine Sea, the Philippines has never been an agent of escalation of tensions. So we will not do that.
So does that mean we will not deploy Navy warships?
We are not at war. We don't need Navy warships. All we are doing is resupplying our fishermen, protecting our territorial rights. Again, it will be provocative and will be seen as an escalation. We don't do that. The Philippines does not escalate tensions. Quite the opposite. The Philippines always tries to bring down the level of tension.
And joining us today, Storycon's resident political papa, Ronald Llamas. Are you still in Europe or parang mas local yung dating mo ngayon? Nakamute ka, Tito Ronald.
Nakamute.
Mukhang hindi niya, nasa Europe eh.
Ako rin.
Tito Ronald, nakamute ka ata. Anyway, ayun.
Okay na.
Just arrived in Paris last night.
You're now in Gay Paris.
Konti na lang.
Okay. Ami, he is now in Gay Paris and from Gay Paranaque, from the Philippine Star Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Ami.
Slow news day ka na naman, ano?
Ganun ba yun?
Slow news day ka na naman, ano?
Ganun ba yun? Actually, there's several ways of looking at today.
Parang hindi maganda gising ni Juan, ni Eda.
Oo nga eh.
Okay, talaga. Epekto ng radiation kasi may nakumpiskang 100 kilo ba 'yon? Ng uranium blocks sa Metro Manila at sa Cagayan. So, where did this come from and where is it headed? And I think
dito daw tinanong ko si Jimmy Santiago
sabi.
Dito daw sa Pilipinas nakuha.
Yeah, pero I don't think it was acquired here kasi I don't know if we have that much deposits and we don't have the refining capability to...
Yan na nga. Ang tinatanong ko, sabi ko, sigurado ka ba? Yun daw yung initial report nila.
Baka
It's depleted uranium,
merong blocks.
Depleted uranium? Depleted uranium ba yan?
Depleted. Well, we can find out later from our guest, pero so far what we've gotten from last night was depleted uranium in powder form and blocks of uranium. I don't know kung U-235 or U-238. Whichever the case is, it's supposed to be, toxic because of the radioactivity, various levels, among other things. So, yung may ganun.
Yes, pero hindi yan yung uranium na mapunta ka lang sa kwarto, no? Ay infected ka na kagad, mamatay ka na.
I don't think you're going to blow yet.
Yung depleted uranium, basically ginagamit yan sa sa armor piercing bullets.
Armor piercing and armor.
Nakilala yan ng Iraq War. Pinangtitira ng mga tangke. Dahil very dense yan eh. Very dense yung bakal na yan. Very dense. Kaya parang butter pag pumasok yan sa tangke. Parang butter. At saka habang siya ay tumatama sa tangke, ay na siya sharpened. No? Habang tumatama, hindi siya pumupurol. nasa sharpen siya.
Yeah,
Kaya,
it's a uranium dart.
kunyari, gustong-gusto nilang gamit sa mga armor-piercing bullets.
Bullet. Oo.
Anyway, Tito and Tita, pasok natin ang ating guest for today, si Professor Carlo Arcilla. Paborito natin ito dati sa Wagpo. Siya po ang
Yes.
director ng Philippine Nuclear Research Institute. Professor, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon po. Can you hear me?
Good
Yes, sir.
afternoon.
Yes, sir. We can hear you
Pasensya
loud
na,
and clear.
nagpapagaling lang kami rito. Kunyari, may alam kami sa uranium.
Hindi, marunong yung bumarel, doktor, kaya ganon.
Alam mo ba,
Nakakaintindi ng bala.
si Doc Carlo has a pending invite sa Wagpo team to visit PNRI, and to visit yung BNPP. Labing na niya dati mag-overnight kami dun eh. Hindi nga natuloy. But anyway, Doctor, Director, ano po, give us an idea how, una, you were part of the investigation kasi at least at the onset eh. Are we looking at uranium lang or depleted uranium or both? And I mean, what kind of uranium is this?
Okay, first background, no. The notice to us was given from the IAEA. This is interesting. From the IAEA to PNS. There was a whistleblower who told the IAEA that someone was trying to traffic or sell depleted uranium in the Philippines. So we were surprised. Kasi we regularly go to the IAEA. There's a nuclear watchdog of the world. So anyway, so when we came back, it's not me who did it. We have a nuclear security team. And then so they did investigate, and eventually they went to the NBI to ask for help. And then the NBI formed a team, secret team. But I have to give credit to the NBI because it's not an easy thing to do. So sino ba talaga nito? Anyway, the hint came because they tried to have these materials identified in one of the labs of the UST.
Okay.
And then nakita nga yung uranium. So the people's identities were known, and then they did entrapment, etc., etc. So PNRI's involvement is in the identification of the materials. It's depleted uranium. Ibig sabihin, the ratio of uranium-235 is the fissionable material, and uranium-238 is below. So napiga na yung yung mga pieces.
Uranium.
Pero it's still very dense. Sinabi nga po nung guest ninyo, it's one use of it is basically as projectile because it's very dense, and at high temperatures it can actually be pyrochloric, pero siyang sumabog, no?
Yeah.
So yan, or as a shielding material, but it's a controlled substance, no? So ngayon ang ginagawa yata ng mga nagbebenta, they're trying to sell it as precious metals, parang platinum, ganon. So kung meron silang maluloko, yon. Or rhodium. Rhodium are very expensive metals. No? So anyway, we have to give credit to NBI. Our people went with them, and then nahuli nga itong mga taong ito. Sa Pasay, actually it involved sa Pasay, sa Mandaue, Cagayan de Oro, at saka Dagupan. So it was not a simple operation. At saka 100 kilograms. Now, I'm not so much concerned about the solid uranium, but the powder. Kasi the powder mixed with bombs to make a dirty bomb. Yun talaga yung nuclear security issue. Pag nabenta yan dun sa mga unscrupulous points. Ngayon, ang nakakatawa, kasi they were charged, ang basis ng pag-charge sa kanila is the Republic Act 5207, the law governing PNRI, the Philippine Atomic Energy Act of 1968. That gives us the authority to license, for example, the BNPP, yung aming research reactors. May, yung parusa doon nakalagay for illegally selling these materials without license is 10,000 pesos.
10,000?
At sa 5 years. 1968, sabi nga ng ibang mga hente, ginikas na lang, tapos nakapagpiyansa na. Kasi sobrang mura, sobrang baba nung ngayon, fortunately, there is another bill that is now, thankfully, in the Senate, baka mag-second reading na, that will update that law. The Philippine, gagawa ng independent regulatory body because PNRI is not independent. I'm under DOST. And then we're both promoter and regulator. that body will ensure that the regulator will be independent. Now, that's in the hopefully in the second reading in the Senate. That one very big in the lower house, but that's very important. At saka ma-update na rin doon yung punishments for these kind of things. But it's the first time na may na-arresto based on this law.
Oo nga, sir. Sir, let me get down to the basics first. So, because it is depleted uranium, ibig sabihin mas konti yung fissile material niya. It's not as radioactive as U-235.
Yes.
So do we mean by that, do we mean to say na mukha namang hindi ito para makagawa ng nuclear bomb?
Yes,
because
definitely not. Most
depleted
definitely not.
But you raised the other thing. But you raised another thing. Pwedeng
gumawa ng dirty bomb.
Dirty bomb.
That's where I'm
what I was talking about kanina.
You mentioned a dirty bomb. When you say
so there's a big difference between a nuclear bomb and a dirty bomb. Yung dirty bomb is an ordinary explosive na lalagyan mo nitong air to spread the... Kasi actually, the radioactivity is not as high. Pero pag na-inhale mo siya, kasi alpha emitter siya, nasa loob ng katawan mo, yung alpha emission, that can cause the cancer. In fact, isang issue nga yan, the condominium where this guy is staying has been decontaminated. Ang tagal, kasi they must have had this for some time kasi contaminated na yung mga kwarto, yung baka nga doon sa at saka may bata doon eh. In fact, gusto naming cytogenetic test yung mga bata kasi baka naapektuhan na sila nitong anong ito eh. Pero di sila
yun po. Doc, yung suspect na merong may-ari niyan ay Pinoy o ibang nationality?
Pilipino, Pinoy po lahat. Ang issue nga po ngayon na ini-investigate pa ng NBI, and I'm not privy to the is kung saan ang galing yan because this is not made in the Philippines. And then they might have also transshipped it out. So that's actually the more important. So ibig sabihin pinalusot yan dito.
Pero Doctor, saan daw nakuha yung uranium mismo? Ang pagkaintindi ko, kasi I talked to Director Santiago parang dito daw talaga kinuha yung sabi ko, meron ba tayong ganon? Yun yung initial nila.
Dito po nakuha, pero ang original origin yan, kung saan ba nanggaling yan. Because we don't have the technology to make the depleted uranium here. We don't have the technology. So it must have been taken as maybe as yung sa balas ng aeroplano, or maybe it was trafficked here. Yun ang issue nga eh. Ibig sabihin kasi medyo maluwag yung... At saka problema, isang problema, hindi basta-basta na-identify yung material na yan. Meron kami dito sa PNRI at saka dyan sa ports ng Manila at saka ng Mandawi. May detectors ka ng radiation. Pagdadaan, let's say, yung container, pag may radiation, mag-aalarma. Pero 2 ports lang yan. Napakadaming ports natin, na especially sa southern part, na pwedeng ipalusot yung mga yan eh. So yun po.
Pero may background ba kayo ng suspect, Doctor? Kasi nabanggit nyo na nga na nakakaintindi yung tao na pwede niyang ibenta. So he understands the nature of that element at saka yung substance na yan, naiintindihan niya. May background ba siya sa nuclear or sa nuclear trafficking ng dirty bombs?
Ma'am, hindi ko po, I have never met the person. Kasi, and I didn't participate, yung mga tao ko nag-participate. But I don't think he has a sophisticated knowledge. Number one, nagpa-analyze siya sa lab. Okay? Tapos, pangalawa, kung talagang if he knew something about it, he would have taken better care of the material.
Yes.
Contain that. Contain.
So the fact na hindi niya lang, at saka, panloloko yung gusto niya yatang motive eh. Akala niya mabibenta yun as commodity or precious metal. Kaya hindi siya pwedeng ma-charge ng anti-terrorism. Kasi sabi nga nung sa press conference kahapon, kasi kung anti-terrorism, talagang walang piyansa, di ba? But they were not in the bomb-making business. So, hindi sila nahuli sa ganong akto. Mabuti, ang galing ng NBI natin na nahuli bago napunta yan doon sa pwedeng gumawa ng bombang yan. Kung sakali.
Doc, naalala nyo ba, Doc, na dati, mga 10 years ago, may nahuli tayo na Iranian na nagpapasok ng rods para gamitin sa nuclear reactor? Naalala nyo ba yon?
Hindi ko po.
Kaki.
Wala pa ako dito.
Si Kaki, nahuli siya. Meron siyang mga radioactive rods, no? Parang ganyan din. Na parang dinadaan sa atin. Nahuli siya. Tapos eventually, namatay siya sa preso dito sa atin, no? Pero parang ganyan din, mga nuclear rods yung kanyang dala-dala.
Pero dapat
Pero imported yun, ha? Imported, no?
Yeah, actually dito po yung DTI merong Strategic Trade Management Office. Yung kasi yung mga dual use, mga ganyan na pwedeng i-export, kino-control din nila. So naka-team din namin sila sa mga ganyan kasi. Pero unless you have a big reactor, you cannot make a nuclear bomb. You know? Kasi naman mamadali. Kilala ko kasi yung may mga kaibigan kasi akong nuclear inspectors doon sa sa IAEA, nagpupunta doon sa gusto nila magpalusot, no? But it's not easy to make, it's not easy to enrich, you know. And by the way, we have a constitutional prohibition on nuclear weapons. But not nuclear
bawal.
Bawal talaga yan. No? So, ayun tawag yan. Nagkaroon pa lang tayo ng 123 agreement with America. Yan ang number one requirement. Di talaga. Sabi ko nga sa kanila, kasi I was a member of the team, sabi namin, we have a constitutional prohibition on nuclear weapons. What more do you want from us? You know?
Doc, so on the surface, Doc, you see nothing, no malice in terms of motives to terrorize anybody is concerned here. It's more of business lang. Gusto lang niyang ibenta at a higher price than other metals. Not for example, resale to another group that wants to, for example, terrorize the region.
Okay, as far as I see, again, it's I haven't talked to the suspects. Again, I leave that to the NBI, no. Pero from the surface, it does not really look like it. Kasi una, anong tawag diyan, hindi ko nga alam kung may nabenta na sila or actually kung magkano pinita nila kung sa ganun din no. So then the second is that from the looks of it, and then from they didn't have the technical sophistication, to actually proceed, no. Pero yun po.
Pero Doc, posibleng nagawa na nila to in the past. May ganung possibility.
Yes,
actually,
good point, sir. Kasi kung hindi pa nag-tip yung yung anong tawag diyan, yung IAEA, ibig sabihin, siguro kung may nabentahan sila, may nadengoy sila, na nagsumbong, no, na gano'n. Kasi hindi po nanggaling sa amin yun. Ibig sabihin, sinabihan tayo ng IAEA na ganyan, tapos lumapit kami sa NBI, and the NBI acted quickly and swiftly, you know, and talagang nag-dedicate sila ng maraming tao dyan, okay? Pero kami ang katulong doon sa pag-identify kasi kami lang may mga gamit, no? At saka sa amin din nakastore yung ibang na ang tawag yan na confiscate. Actually, ganito yan, kung may sophisticated analysis and SOP analysis, pwede mong malaman kung saan bansa nang galing kasi its uranium mine has its own isotopic signature, but we're not there yet.
Pero Doc, kung ganyang may nagbebenta, ibig sabihin may demand. May idea na ba kayo kung sino yung posibleng buyer? Or in-alert ba kayo ng IAEA na may balita din kami na itong grupon to o itong bansa na to naghahanap ng material na yan? Meron bang ganong exchange of information?
Doon sa last point sinabi ninyo kung may bansa, wala akong, kasi I was in the IAEA earlier this and I talked to them. Hindi ganun ka-specific yung details, no? But someone came out na saying that, you know, and that hindi alam kung sino na yun niya, meron daw possibility. So it was our own investigation, especially the NBI, to actually ang nakahuli nito. Hindi ngayon nabenta ba nila sa ibang bansa, that will still be under investigation, no. Under current and ongoing po yan. Mas alam po yan ng NBI kaysa namin po.
So Doc, posibleng may naglalakad dyan sa 1PH nakasuot ng sing-sing ng depleted uranium.
Glow in the dark.
Hindi, ang hirap nga, ba't igagawa ng ganyan? Ang hirap kasi i-machine yan di ba? Again, it's
very dense yan very dense.
Very dense. Ay, naku, actually, it's very much denser than lead.
1.6 times more dense ata, sir.
Ang density niya. Kasi yun nga, that what makes it an ideal projectile, at high speed.
Oo.
Yan po.
Yes.
Doc, how
Doc,
easy?
by way of warning lang kasi yung mga nandyan sa video, mga naka-hazmat By way of warning lang sa public, kung sakaling nagbabalak din sila na magbenta ng ganyan, may tunay. Ano epekto niyan sa health? Halimbawa sa balat, sa mata, or whatever. Apart from, of course, yung alam natin na masama siyempre pag in-inhale.
Okay, ganito yan. Kasi fortunately, hindi naman siya kasing radioactive like cesium-137.
Yes.
Tapos mo. Pero kasi, yung alpha emitter, yung uranium. So yung alpha, pwede ma-shield yan kahit na papel, no? Ang problema lang, pag nalanghap mo yan. Pag nalanghap mo, ibig sabihin yung alpha emission nangyayari sa loob ng katawan mo.
Yes.
Sa liver. Yun, makaka-cancer yan sigurado. I mean, almost, that's one of the biggest dangers of that, the inhalation. Sa skin effects, hindi naman. That's why we want to test if we have the capability, kasi dapat may permission yan. Yung taong mga nakatira, kung may effect na sa DNA nila yung yung radiation, kasi masusukat po yun. So but I don't want to concern the public on this. Hindi, it's not anong tawag yan, hindi to kasing alam nyo sa ibang bansa nangyari dun, for example sa Brazil, yung cobalt 60 ay yung machine, tapos nila, tapos binenta sa junk shop. Sa mga bata yun, it caused severe radiation damage. I don't think it happened. This would have. So, balancing dito kasi baka mamaya, alam nyo kasi when you talk about nuclear materials, ang nasa isip ng tao, bomb agad This is not one of those materials that we should really cause panic, But it's a substance, and I'm very happy that we caught it. And then in this, it's a big achievement for the NBI.
Doc, on a different topic, anong status nung move na i-revive yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant? At ano yung status nitong ating negotiations with the US para sa mga modular nuclear power plant?
Okay, ganito. Mas mabuting tanongin yung DOE dyan kasi, may alam din ako, but that's their purview. But I can say something about small modular plants. Because I was invited to, a month ago, the first small modular plant conference was done in Vienna. They originally targeted 300 attendees, naging 1,300 attendees. Sobrang laki ng interest sa small modular plants. Okay, what are some takeaways of that conference? And number one, the SMRs, as they're called, is overhyped. There are 100 designs, but there are only 2 working. Too many PowerPoints, too few power plants. That's one. So ibig sabihin, you cannot buy that, anong tawag yan, from the shelf. Because you need the plant to operate for the regulator to see if it's safe. Hindi pwede mag-regulate ng plantang hindi nag-ooperate kahit na yung person. Ako po kami po yung regulator. I will sign a license. We will not allow any operation of the plant if it has not operated as several thousand hours para makita mo kung safe talaga siya. Okay? It's very nice kung mangyayari yan. It will be very good for the isolated island, etc. But the estimates are maybe within 10 to 15 years. There are only 2 working SMRs in the world. And they're both in communist countries. Yung isa sa China, yung HTGR nila, actually that's the most advanced reactor. It's connected to the grid. And then yung isa sa Russia, yung nasa barko. Lahat po yan, Argentina is building one, but they've been building for 20 years. Pero wala pa talagang SMRs na makikita mo. Ang totoong SMRs which has existed for more than 50 years, alam niyo kung ano? Are the submarines. Nuclear
powered.
So, if you think about it, nauna muna yung planta doon sa submarines, pero mataas yung kanyang enrichment, no? Tapos bago din-design niya sa surface. That's why I am convinced na safe ang nuclear kasi nauna yung submarines. There are about 700 submarines in the world, nuclear submarines. Wala kang naririnig na ang tawag diyan na accidents. Tapos at saka tingnan niyo kung may submarine ka, bago mo papaanda rin yan, mag-explode ka muna ng tawag nito, depth charges. So talagang nayayanig yan. So a lot of the lessons from the building of the military, but those are military kept secrets. But in the civilian realm, the regulators have to be very strict. And that's also the reason why we have to approve the independent regulatory para hindi madiktahan ng kahit na kanino pag safety ang pinag-uusapan po.
Pero Doc, I remember before there was a long discussion about possibly tapping, for example, South Korea, among other countries, to either build or rebuild or refurbish the BNPP. I'm not sure if you want to go into that, but I think it's still a point of interest for a lot of people as to where we're headed power-wise. Di ba? There was a long discussion about that kasi sayang nga naman, and there's potential for it. Are we still pursuing that, or has that been shelved as well?
Yeah, again, I know some things, but I respectfully defer to the Department of Energy. But some people you can interview is Meralco, for example. Kasi Meralco has come to us to learn about nuclear. Binisita kami. I mean, I've given lectures to them, very eager students, Kasi I think they're seriously considering nuclear. And if you ask me personally, the BNPP is a perfect, if it's viable to consider. But that's their decision. Okay. Now, kung sakaling may decision na sila, whatever it is, if they want a license, they can come to us for the license to construct and the license to operate. But we don't figure out kung ano yung cost, magkano, hindi po sa DOE po yun.
Yes, sir. But then, sir, people are looking at the policy direction of government. I mean, in the end, kasi the regulators will decide whether or not we will have power plants or not. So the private sector may or may not want. But what would be the policy direction as far as that is concerned?
Yeah. Anyway, again, the policy has already been set. Because the national position nuclear power has been signed by the President, President Duterte, and then President Marcos has continued that. There's actually, again, if you ask DOE, last week nagkaroon kami ng nireview tayo ng IAEA yung readiness natin, and I think it was brilliantly led by Yusek Garin. There's been a lot of improvements. I mean, it's better that if or the DOE spoke about this, because they have a better overview.
Ang public ang magde-decide niyan. The people of Bataan don't want it.
Ma'am, regarding the public, there was a survey in 2019. 79% of the Filipinos want nuclear. And they repeated the survey a few months ago, the same percent.
Anong survey firm yan?
Tanungin niyo po sa DOE. But ang pagkakaalam po yung isa, ano yun? No.
Baka sila nag-commission nun.
Hindi po, anyway, I don't, but, pero ma'am, kasi we just have some people, that will also be done also. Mas yun na nga dun sa Bataan, we have the Atomic Energy Week here, we have students from Bataan, they're interested in nuclear power, So, but you can ask DOE about that survey. Exactly, details who did, yeah.
Doc, bakit sa US tayo nag-negotiate para sa modular nuclear power plants? Mas advanced ang France at saka ang Canada.
No, we're
not. Hamak, no?
Okay, ganito, again, it's not for me, but okay, from my independent finding doon sa kasi, sino ba may mga SMR? Okay, Argentina has an SMR being built. America actually does not have. Kasi Westinghouse na wala na sila. Alam mo, pinaka-advanced na country sa nuclear ay China. China is building 49 nuclear plants simultaneously. And it's for their own use. But we cannot deal with China for political reasons. They are the most advanced in nuclear now. So, but anyway, that from a technical perspective, but politically, it's impossible to do that. Anyway, yeah.
But that would be an interesting discussion, sir.
No problema nga dito. Kasi napumunta na naman sa BNPP. Papagalitan na naman ako nito.
Well, we should have the discussion in a future date. Just that, di ba?
Uranium lang.
Uranium na lang, uranium.
Sir, balikan ko lang yung depleted uranium. 100 kilos to, di ba? So I think some of them were in block form and some of them were in powder form. But they were both depleted uranium. Tama ba?
Yes.
How much was the one in powder form? Kasi mas delikado yun eh.
Yeah, I don't know the exact.
More or less.
I mean, the NBI will know that. Yun nga. Pero ang problema kasi kahit na ilang kilos na kasi yung powder form, pag, if it's, I don't want to also talk in great detail about this because, as I said, the potential for that for a dirty bomb is a real national security issue. People know it.
Well,
At saka ganito yan, there also another thing kasi hindi yan kagaya ng Cesium-137. Cesium-137 kasi patay ka na bago magagawin. Sabi ko nga yung mga suicide bombers ng ganyan, dalawang suicide bomb maker, patay habang ginagawa ang bomba. At saka yung mismong magpapaputok. So, kasi the difficulty with this is handling the material if you don't know how to do it. That's why, sabi nga ni Ma'am Amy kanina, yun nga, yung mga taong yun na nakadamit, yan yung mga tao namin sa PNRI. Standard protocol yan.
Okay.
Para talagang, kasi I want my people protected first, and it's also a good example. But we want to train our first responders. For example, ang importante, napakasimple lang, dapat yung mga police, firemen, meron sila ng dosimeter, Geiger counter, para kung may explosion, susukatin muna kung may radiation. Kasi kung may radiation, CBRN yan. Kasi ang problema, pag hindi mo alam na may radiation, dinadala mo yung mga pasyente doon sa hospital, kinakalat pa yung radiation. Pero wala pa namang nangyari yun. So tinanong ko nga yung sa IA, bakit wala pa? Matagal nang alam ito, nasa website ng ISIS yung mga ito, bakit wala pa? Kasi nga, ang hirap niyang i-handle. Mamamatay ka muna bago mo magawa yung bomba.
I do remember, Doc, nung Iraq invasion ng US, there were a lot of complaints by the Iraqis na nag-spike daw supposedly yung cancer cases nila after the first and the second Gulf War because of the use of so much depleted uranium by the Allied forces, especially with their yung mga sabo shells nila, mga tangke, and yung A-10 Warthog, puro depleted uranium yan ang ginagamit And pag sumabog kasi, it explodes, it turns into dust
That's right.
And it's inhaled all around.
Yan ang problema sa depleted uranium. I mean, it's pyrophoric, but at high temperatures. High temperatures. Ibig sabihin, pag nandyan lang yan, hindi yan walang problema. Pero kung ginawa mo kasi siyang bala, siyempre may high temperature at impact at high pressure. Yun yung pagsabog nun, yun ang kakalat nun. So, that's the intended or the unintended consequences of having the projectiles.
Okay. Maraming salamat. Dr. Carlo Arcilla, Director po ng Philippine Nuclear Research Institute. Sir, minsan we want to take you up on your
Actually,
Thank you, Doctor.
pwede mo bang plug? Kasi ngayon,
magpa-plug daw siya.
Hindi, ganito
gumawa ng nuclear power.
Sige, plug daw, plug.
Ganito kasi, this week is Atomic Energy Week. The whole PNRI is open house starting yesterday. If you want to see a live research reactor, yung mga research namin sa nuclear medicine, sa agriculture, ang daming cool dito, yung hemostat namin, we are open. You can come by and then and take pictures. Even samples of depleted uranium, kung gusto nyo makakita, meron kami.
Basta lang natin powder form.
Sinusukat. So you're welcome here.
Nakasilyon, ikaw naman. Tatakot na si Ed Nakasilyon.
Magsusuot din kami ng safety gear.
Hazmat.
Mag-hazmat din kami.
Yung aking, by the way, I'll just tell you this. Yung aming research reactor here, yung nuclear power plant, ang kanyang uranium content, mga 3% lang to the fuel. But mga 90%. Okay? Pero yung research reactor namin is 19. Okay? So it's at least, it's here less than 100 meters from where I sit.
So may nuclear power plant tayo sa Quezon City.
It's been here. Yung itlog, it's been here. Di pa kayo pinapanganak, ma'am. Tawag yan.
Thank you, Ayan, narinig mo, Ronald,
Okay, maraming salamat, Director Carlo Arcilla ng
Thank you.
PNRI. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, bro.
Ingat, Doc, and do not glow in the dark. Now, let's bring in our second guest for... He's still in France. Let's maximize that. Let's bring in our second guest for the day. We have PHIVOLCS Director Teresito Toto Bacolcol. Sir, magandang hapon. Welcome to Storycon.
Yes, magandang hapon din po sa inyo, sir.
Magandang hapon, sir. Sir, kamusta po? Anong latest balita sa Panlaon?
Director.
Okay, so after the eruption kahapon, may nasundan ito ng maliit na eruption just a while ago between 3:31 to 4:10. Pero maliit lamang, umabot lamang ito ng 100 meters. And hindi nga ito nag-register sa aming seismic instruments.
So,
And between 12 midnight kanina to 12 noon kanina, nakapagtala po tayo ng 5 volcanic earthquakes lamang sa Canlaon Volcano.
so by indication, sir, what does this mean?
Director, konektado ba ito doon sa nangyayari sa Taal?
Hindi po, independent po yung magma chambers nila. Wala pong kinalaman yung volcanic activity ng Taal Volcano sa activity ng Canlaon Volcano. And it just so happened na we have 24 active volcanoes, and there is always this remote possibility na 2 or 3 volcans sabay-sabay na magkakaroon na activity.
Pero, Director, what does this mean?
Alam ko, nag-forced evacuation na po ngayon sa paligid ng Canlaon eh. Tinatanong ng mga tao, kailan daw kaya sila makakabalik? I know, and mahirap pong i-predict yun, pero pwede bang bigyan daw sila ng kahit konting idea kung mga ilang linggo sila sa evacuation center maghihintay? Kasi in some cases, inaabot ng buwan sa evacuation center yung mga lumalayo sa volcano.
Mahirap po kasi magsabi tayo kasi like what happened yesterday, biglaan na lamang na nagkaroon ng eruption. And again, when we say alert level 3 kasi, it means na there is a possibility na magkaroon ng hazardous eruption in the following weeks. So as to when exactly, hindi po natin malalaman pa. So titingnan natin yung mga parameters natin in the next few weeks siguro. Kapag bumababa, then we may lower the alert level from alert level 2 to alert level 3 to alert level 2. Pero sana yung mindset ng mga tao ngayon, hindi lowering of the alert level, dapat yung paghanda nila should be i-assume nila na tataas pa yung alert level. Para hindi maging kampante po.
Director, pwede bang i-alay dyan yung isang banal katulad ni Ed para tumigil?
Ano yung virgin sacrifice ba?
Baka iluwa po, baka iluwa.
Pero Director, you're saying, mas malaki yung odds, mas malaki yung posibilidad na lalala pa. At least in the coming days.
Well, yes, the possibility is always there.
Kaya mangingat yung mga tao.
Pero Director, okay, the possibility is there, but what about the probability? I mean, in terms of whether or not it's likely to happen, ano hong mas, I don't want, of course, I don't want to preempt you naman, pero ano hong mas likely to happen? Mas likely ba na mag-slow down o mag-increase ang activity?
Again, mahirap po magsabi. Like what happened before, we were on alert level 2 and people were asking, ano ba, what's the probability ng mag-alert level 1 or mag-alert level 3? So, mahirap magbigay ng definite answer.
Okay.
Biglang nag-alert level 3. What if sinabi namin na, okay, kampante na kayo, we'll probably lower it to alert level 1 and then biglang sumabog. So, yun na palagi namin sinasabi sa mga tao when it was still on alert level 2 na dapat yung mindset nila hindi step down of the alert level, but step up para yung paghanda nila, always vigilant sila.
Apo.
Na-monitor na po ba yung impact ng ash? Kasi medyo makapal yung ash na yan eh. Bumagsak ba siya sa mga inhabited areas?
Yes po. In fact, umabot po yung ash hanggang Antique. That's around 300 kilometers away. Maraming, of course, around Canlaon Volcano, marami talaga. And then, the fact na umabot to Guimaras and Antique, ay ibig sabihin, malakas talaga yung pagsabog kahapon.
Director, what about
anong danger zone na Director para to sa mga respiratory problems, no? Para maiwasan yon. Ano yung ilang kilometro sila dapat malayo?
Wala naman kasi for example, umabot ng Antique yung ash kahapon, that's 300 kilometers. So ang isipin na lang nila kapag may abo, magsuot ng face mask kasi kapag sabi tayo na okay, yung danger ng volcanic ash ay nasa 6 kilometers lamang, nililipad. Alam naman natin na nililipad yung volcanic ash. So, ang ano na lang nila gagawin kapag may abo, ay di magtakip na lang po sila ng they wear face mask. N95 kung maaari.
Director, a bit of siguro refresher doon sa volcanology. Do volcanoes give indicators in case it is going to have what you might call a very, very destructive eruption, yung tipong Mount Pinatubo eruption type? Does it give indicators before that happens?
Yes, kapag dumadami yung volcanic earthquake. So, ibig sabihin, earthquake, yes, maraming umaangat na magma and binabasag ng magma yung mga bato. So, like what happened in Taal Volcano, before it erupted in 2020, nagkaroon ng 135 earthquakes in a day. That's for Taal Volcano. So, alam natin na may steady supply of magma pataas and dahil dito, binabasag yung mga bato. And nagpo-produce ng lindol. Tapos
merong usually swelling, di ba? Swelling doon sa bandang sa flanks ng volcano pag may push up.
Yes, isa pa yan. Yung tawag natin na inflation on the edifice of the volcano, namamaga. So, ibig sabihin po, may magma na gumigit-git pataas. And yung sulfur dioxide din po, yes, sir.
Meron na ba kayo na monitor ng mga earthquakes all over the place?
As I mentioned, between 12 a.m. kanina to 12 noon kanina, 5 volcanic earthquakes lamang yung naitala natin. In fact, before kahapon, before it erupted, ng eruption, 6 na volcanic earthquakes lamang yung naitala natin. So, ibig sabihin,
yung lahar alert, meron ba? May malaki bang danger ng lahar?
Yes, mas malaki ito kaysa nung June 3 nagkaroon ng lahar.
Yes.
That was 2 days after nagkaroon ng heavy rainfall. Ngayon, mas matindi ang magiging lahar kasi mas malaki yung volume na naibuga niya compared to the eruption last June 3.
Okay, maraming salamat. May hapabol pa tayo? Si Director, pawalan natin. Maraming salamat, PBOX Director Teresito Bacolcol. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Director.
Salamat din po.
Thank you, Director. Punta ka na ron, Ed.
Pupunta ako ngayon din.
Sa amin ni Ami.
Ngayon din, para tumahimik na lahat.
Masakit yan sa mata, saka sa ilong.
Oo. Tsaka may sulfur din yan eh.
Kaya nga tinatanong ko, ano yung safe distance eh? Baka hindi sapat yung mask.
Masasorize ka dyan. Magkakaroon ka ng
Grabe, nakaabot ng Cavite ah. Malapit na sa kanya, malapit na sa Parañaque.
Baka umabot ng Paris. Sige, Bok. Okay. Pakawalan natin Tito Ronald. Mukhang kulang pa sa tulog to. Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Tito Ronald Llamas, matulog ka muna. Ang ating political pundit at of course, Tita Ami Pamintuan ng Editor-in-Chief ng Philippine Star. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.